Hello everyone, welcome to the Elephant Room. It's me, Marilyn, aka the Dharma Coach, and I'm bringing a very special guest today who I can't say enough about Miss Angela Burke. She has been a part of my life for so many years. It feels like, we've known each other forever. She is someone I consider as a mother, a sister, friend, anything that you could look for in the sense of sisterhood. And you guys know I'm all about sisterhood, and so is she. She is a figure here in our community. She's one of the first people who really made it her mission to bring the concept and the ideas and access of health and wellness to the south side of Atlanta, and she has become such an important resource here in the community. I worked with her for years. We've done so many things together. We've developing products and just helping people and becoming just such a huge part of this community. And she has been just so instrumental in just even my own personal growth. And I'm so grateful for her being here to talk with you guys today. And with no further ado, welcome Miss Angela Burke.
Blessed Lord. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome.
You're so kind with your words.
Thank you.
Who is that?
All
I'd like
true.
to meet that lady.
All true, I promise. Okay. So just getting a little bit into just so many things that you have going on. I've been so excited to watch all the different directions that you've been going into. And the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, where we got together, where we met up, is the herb shop, the Native Answer Herb Shop. And just again, a huge figure in our community here on the south side. So many people go in and out of there to get healing, and just it's a great community feeling there. You really go in and it feels like family. And when I was there with her, I'm still there with her, it's really just such, you can tell that it's a intentional and conscious effort to bring that feeling of family in that space, that feeling of love, and just people walking there, sometimes just feeling so hopeless about their situation and their condition. They've been to every doctor, they've tried everything, but they come there and they can leave with some hope, and it's just such a great place to be. And I want to talk more about that, just how it's been, growing that community, growing that.
Wow, that is heavy stuff. That is really, it's light, but it's heavy stuff because you don't think of what you've done. You're just doing it. Yeah. So, you just said something that really and truly, I think from the first waterfall at the old shop when we were there, a lady came in with anxiety attack one night and just would not leave. She had palpitations, and that was the reason that night. I think that I personally could have shared that moment with her because that had happened to me. And in that moment, all I could say to her was breathe. Let's just breathe. And 3 days later, she brought me a gift card for $50 to say thank you. Yes, that was so awesome. And she's a good friend, and one of the people who keep people coming into the herb shop and tell that same story that you're telling, just from a different perspective, which is her personal. But what we set out to do, we have exceeded in 2 years. Our 6-year plan, we did that in 2 years. Yes. Thanks to Miss Marilyn, and she don't take enough credit, because what we did, we wanted it with for us it was like, let's have the largest bulk wall of herbs in the south side.
Accomplished.
And we started saying, okay, whatever was ailing us, we wanted to let that be a part of the sharing what we did for the sisterhoods, because as I know, how many women right now are going through hormonal imbalance because of their inability to release negative energy. So we have that literally trapped within our bodies, whether it is a thing which is subconscious or non-subconscious, because it could be something where the body itself hold on to that memory in you because of your feelings towards that, and doing what we have been doing, literally giving people hope. That is when you go to a doctor and a doctor say to someone, you have stage 4 or a terminal illness, what happens? You're in a bind at this moment. Why is that? Why are we talking about healthcare and prevention and all of these things, and we cannot approach the simple nature to say, okay, that is a natural part of life? And so if we are faced with our mortality at a point when we're not well, how do you deal with that? If you're in a space where, okay, I'm okay right now, we can talk about this, because guess what, it could be another time. But if I've been condemned and say this is your time, so therefore if you don't have the strength to physically accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in life, you're going to feel less than.
Yes.
So let's take away this thing, and I would love to do a challenge for people who go to their doctors and their doctors say to them, are you having real issues, whatever dis-ease that's going on in the body? Talk, ask questions, man. Say, how do you know that it's this amount of time for me? And talk to him. Say, have anybody ever beat this odds? Can I speak to that person? Because if you're a doctor, you're supposed to, just like a mechanic, tell me what you have done. And if you can't fix the problem, you diagnose it and you send it to someone else. So let's get to that point.
And something that I love to bring up when I talk to my clients is, even within our relationships with our clients, they have to remember that they are the ones employing the doctors. You are paying this doctor. What you bring, that doctor owes you an answer. So do not feel intimidated. Do not feel as if you cannot question the doctor. Do not feel as if you cannot demand more answers. You're entitled to it, okay?
Well, my sister, Pastor Nadine, she fired her doctor. She had some issues, and this is a perfect segue for what we're doing. My nephew committed suicide. That was the official report. And literally, that space, that energy, was like, okay, here's my sister now, a minister who is talking, and she said, somebody's home with God, why should I worry? That was just amazing. And I remember when I lost a child, my husband said the same thing to me, like, we have somebody in Zion, what are you worrying about? Don't worry about that, that's not. And my sister went on a journey with one herb, chrysanthemum. And the whole thing that we did was to get back spirit in order. And most people think spirit, they go, ooh la la, like a ghost and whatever. No.
Very taboo.
Your spirit comes from your navel. It comes from within you. It's here. And because we're looking outside, and there's nothing wrong with looking outside if, you already know who you are. But it doesn't matter what comes from out. It has to come from in here, the belly, in order to portray back so you could feel a sense of calm.
Yes, that is so true. And just going into a little bit more about, what you've been doing along those lines. The Native Answer Herb Shop, of course, has spurred into the Native Answer line of products, and we began the journey together with the Native Answer line of products.
We formulated together.
Yes, exactly.
Do you remember the parasite program that we did with those flight attendants?
We started with definitely, and just to see where it is today.
Yes.
That
was 4 years ago.
4 years ago, just to see where it is today, and just how many people it has been able to help, and you have taken it on, you have spearheaded it, and just made it a phenomenon within our community, and just seeing all the directions that it's going, now outside the United States, is just incredible.
Amazing.
It's just incredible.
It is amazing. It is incredible. And it's just to share with what, in line with what we're saying, it's that the energy that I was pushing, as I was saying, I was literally living as a teenager, a 16-year-old pregnant, and having the baby at 17. My energy was literally surrounded about that little girl who have so much potential, and I'm so brilliant, and this is not a mistake for me. This was all planned out. I must say that. And I'm like, okay, I have to do, because I never want to beg, because my thing is that if I have to beg bread, that means I'm less than. So that false pride narrative that I conjured in my mind, like, oh, I am an island, I have to do, like I am independent and all that foolishness that I believed. So I had to unbelieve my beliefs. You know what I mean? And unbelieving those beliefs, I started to share. I started to conversate. And I remember that we were having a conversation many years ago about foot detox, because you taught me about foot detox. Right? You're amazing. And you said to me, a lot of things that we think is coming out of the water is actually coming out of our soul. It's actually coming out of us. What we're seeing in the physical. Because I remember seeing some black flakes, and I was like, dang, well, I don't know what you, but that can't be coming out of it.
Did you sprinkle that in there?
Yeah, did you do that? I wasn't looking. And you said to me, guess what, Angela? Because you're doing so much, you need to just relax. And then you introduced me to yoga in the same time. And you weren't even doing yoga at the time. We were just, you know, yeah. And to see that, I took that to heart. And we started, literally just started breathing, and we would say, okay. And that's where the healing started. It's literally releasing my own negative energy that healed my body, and then transferring that to somebody else is to say to someone, guess what? As you just said about, it's your doctor. You can fire that doctor. It's about you.
It's about you.
It's literally about you.
And definitely, I think where all of that began and what our mission was in terms of helping people from a holistic perspective with releasing that energy. It's so incredible, like I said, you know, just with the products, with the hormonal balancing, I think was where we began.
Yes.
You know, was where we began. And talk to me a little bit just about the impact you feel like balancing the hormones affects your energy.
Everything.
Positive, negative, and how the nutrition aspect of it, how we can use the products, how we can use our food to heal.
Most definitely. Mineralization is the most important thing that I found to help with hormonal balance quickly. Because we're lacking so much minerals, we don't have enough minerals in the soil anymore, and they're replanting. Before you'd have a slot of land, and they would farm that for 7 years, and then they would move to a different set of land, and then that would give that land time to heal again and get back all the nitrogen and phosphorus and all that good stuff that goes into it. So just like that, we don't employ those practices anymore. So the soil itself is depleted. And then with what we now know about the GMO effect on the soil, we literally could see how the erosion of the soil coming up. So that's a part of it, you know. So mineralization becomes very, very important. Like our treasure source vitamin, within 28 to 30 minutes, you see that energy up, and we have like 42 different foods and vegetable in there. Plus we have golden seal and echinacea in the vitamin itself, a host of B vitamins. So the point of that, we have we have spirulina, L-ruth, things like that in there, is to give you a good energy to lift you up, but at the same time not to take you to a point like a quick energy drink or something like that to give you a high and a low. We didn't want that any at all. We wanted to make sure that you're having sustained energy from the core. So with that being said, what we have employed was minerals, meditation, breathing, and a lot of herb teas. But then what we notice also, there's underlying issues with hormones, because hormones will break down the body. In women, especially black women, fibroids, ovarian cysts, it's very, very prevalent. And we see that daily, which we don't want to see anymore. So number one thing to do is to cut off hormone-based chicken and eggs.
And we talked a little bit about the dairy and cheese. People hate to hear that.
You hate to hear that, and I hate to say that because
no,
but the cheese gotta go.
Yes, it really does.
And
we do.
Yeah,
we do. I mean, especially in the American culture, you know, talking about the standard American diet is such a huge part of it, and it's marketed by the industries, and that control our nutrition. So we've learned, and to be addicted to cheese, and it's so hard to let go, but it's so important for our healing and for the balancing of our energies. just, you know, you talked a little bit about how important and what a baseline that hormonal balancing creates. But all of that, we think that it's separate, but they are all intertwined. You
Yes.
know, in terms of our spirituality, keeping a calm mind, and breathing, all those things are very synergistic in the way that in the way that it affects and impacts our bodies. So tell me a little bit. You were talking about a breathing technique. And, you know, I'm a yogi and I'm all about the breath and, you know, movement in the body. You were talking about a breathing technique that you employ with your clients and for yourself that helps with that release of that energy.
Well, the first thing that I learned to do was to quiet the mind. That's where I got out of my anxiety. That's where I got out of literally all negative spaces that I used to think, is to learn to silence the mind. And you remember the long driveway?
Yes.
So by the time I would come out of that driveway, I would have 50 to 60 thoughts, just that space of time, which maybe is a minute, a half a minute drive. And by the time I would get to the shop, I would have another 100 thoughts. And you know, it's a 4 minutes commute at the old shop.
Yeah.
So for me, finances was my biggest issue that triggered my insecurities. And that triggered for me GERD, you know, at 17. That's when that started for me. And then I went on, believe it or not, cayenne pepper and the cleanse, yeah? And slippery elm. That's why I sell so much slippery elm, you know. And that healed my gut literally in 2 weeks. And after that, it was like, okay, smooth sailing for a while, you know. So I believe that the breath, and I will share it with you and the viewers in a second, but I believe that the breath actually had me to come down and go up at the same time. So now I know balance, yeah? So would you like me to share it now?
Yes, please.
All right. Now, you know I'm the indisciplined group. Marilyn is the good one. So breathing literally takes you, you don't have to sit in this position. You could lay on your back, you could do it whichever way. But the important thing is, for where your navel is, I would like you to breathe in, and when you breathe in, your stomach comes out. So you fill it up, then you fill up the lungs with oxygen, and then you try to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then release 1, 2, 3, 4. So whatever's going on in our minds right now, let's do it together. And we only need 3 of us to literally clear the mind. So let's do it. Okay. Ready? And while breathing, if you're having extra thoughts that's going through your mind, this is a time to just let it be. Just let it be and just continue with your breathing. Because now is the time that you're going to want to feel, and you're going to want to say, oh yeah, I'm feeling good. Whether it's a bad thought or a good thought, it doesn't matter. Just let it flow. Then you take your next breath and you go, count it off. And release. Very good. Now with that, I am totally happy. I feel so light. You see how that happy juice? That's happy juice. Look at T over there. T's over there stretching and yarning.
Well, that was wonderful, and I really, and I love it. You know, it's very calming, and it gives you the space to be able to not necessarily control the mind, but to release it.
That's it.
Release it.
To release the mind. So that negative now becomes where I'm at a space now where nothing matters, whether negative, whether positive, I am just me.
Yeah.
So in this moment, what I choose to put in or what I choose to take out, that's my right.
That's a choice.
Yes. So now the right becomes, I am not looking for Marilyn's right or anybody else's right. I'm looking for my right. How do you know you're right when you think you've been wrong all this time? So how does a sick mind heal a sick body?
Doesn't.
It doesn't. So because you know. So,
that was a trick question.
So because of this, we are going around this guru show and this thing where everything is like, okay, if you can achieve it, if you can do this, and then we're being positive at the same time, but we're using somebody else's view or somebody else's point for us. No, you got to get into your belly. You got to say, look, what do I want? Do I want to be a millionaire? Do I want to be a person of service? I said to someone yesterday, could you tell Mother Teresa, no matter what faith you come from or what color, could you tell that lady not to be her, not to be a servant of God? No. Then she wouldn't have lived her life's purpose. And how many people have she touched? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So same goes towards you, same goes towards me. So now it's about sharing and not sharing your energy or what you believe about what we're doing here. We're having a great time. Yeah? This is food for the soul. And while we're speaking to you, releasing your negative energies and how to now balance your mind, because hormone balancing literally is getting the mind straight. Yes. And then the body will release dopamines, you know, different type of chemicals, literally from the brain stem goes straight down to the spinal column and right down there and free you up. Yeah. You know, so now it becomes, well, okay, with herbs, can I do it with herbs? Absolutely. Yes, it's easier with herbs. It is. Because my favorite, one of my favorite, because dandelion I think is my all-time favorite, with stinging nettle. But one of my favorite herbs literally is lemon balm.
Yes, we definitely employ
and with lemon balm and holy basil, I'm feeling so good, sister. Don't let me put a little something in that little pot. We'll be rocking.
We love it. Thank you so much, Angie. Yes. This has been a great talk, and just I hope that you guys got something out of that. I know I definitely did, and employ that breathing technique. I know it's something that I love to do with my people, and Angie, it's amazing how, you know, she made it seem so simple and so easy, and I love just having you here so much. I definitely want you guys to check her out. Check her out, Native Answer Herb Shop in Riverdale. Look her up, Dr. Angela Burke, the Herb Doctor, we love to call her. And thank you so much for being here. Love you guys. Bye.